What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel known as Azure. As always, I'm your most engaging host, Daniel, followed by my co-host.
Julian.
Ah. Okay, and today we're going to take a step back and talk about two games that we played through our very first time through stream.
Oh yeah.
Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. So, right off the bat, these two games are actually pretty good back-to-back if you play them well. To me, they hold up pretty well, especially Doom 2016, considering how much of an improvement Doom Eternal was to me. What about you, Julian?
Isn't it kind of weird to say hold up when we played it at release? Usually,
Yeah.
usually people mean that when like a game's like older.
I'm mostly talking about Doom 2016, that's why.
Okay.
That's why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean Doom 2016. I mean like they are different from the original Dooms, but if you just treat it as its own thing, yeah, Doom 2016 is fun. There's not too much variety in environments and certain other things, but it still holds up as like, you know, every once in a while we just want to do a playthrough. It's a good game.
It's more like a turn your mind off kind of game. I feel like that's what Doom 2016 was. Don't you think so?
See, I want to say that, especially if you use the harder difficulties.
Oh,
It's more like a game where you put some effort in, and then yeah, your mind kind of turns off because you're like in a zone, a zen like state. Because then you just kind of understand, like your mind just understands the environment, every enemy pattern, and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely good. Like once you beat it once, then I could say that. But the first time, there is some difficulty,
Fair enough,
harder
yeah.
difficulty. But on easy mode, yeah, definitely turn your mind off. Just beat up enemies and like shoot them in the
Okay,
face
yeah.
no matter what,
Mhm.
kind of thing.
Yeah, but then taking it back to Doom Eternal, like that one more. When we played it, we had to think more, didn't we? 'Cause I remember like in the first like area, one of the enemies just kept spawning right in front of us. We had no time to react.
Well-
It took like half an hour just to get past it.
I mean, it is an example of us. What is it? Playing that one for the first time on a stream, and
Yeah.
so there was some level of us not being, you know, since you need to commentate, and it was our first time really
Yeah.
streaming anything for the first time, and it was like a lot of things really
Uh-huh.
that made it so it was more difficult, and the game difficulty did just go up with that, and also they didn't explain the best how the changes really worked compared to 2016.
Okay.
So us playing 2016 could actually hurt our first experience in a sense, due to the fact that like Eternal has the things like weapons are a lot more scarce, and he had to use his chainsaw more, and
Mhm.
like glory
Yeah.
kills are more important, and there's a lot of things in Eternal that are kind of
Yeah.
really different. That
Kinda like
if you play
how-
20, the platforming also as an example is very like it's very
That's true,
finicky
but-
until it kind of clicks in. It's not something like a Mario where you automatically understand. There is there is a learning curve. Part of the reason
to
being
playing the game, yeah.
part of the reason
But
being
kinda
because it's a
back-
first
hold on,
person
hold
game.
on,
Okay?
hold on. I want to go back to like I kind of feel like how is that when you said like there wasn't that much environmental differences in Doom 1, that they took that advice and made it more environments in Doom Eternal, but as a result they took out like most of like the ammo packs and everything from Doom 1 and out of Doom Eternal 2, like where there was abundance of ammunition but very little variety in map selection. It's kind of the opposite. Like, there's more variety in map selection and everything, but there's very little like ammunition and gun control and everything like that.
Well, I mean, one reason for gun control we could say is that we didn't use keyboard and mouse, so it is
Yeah.
harder for us, I guess. And like, I guess you could say we never really tinkered with the controller either with sensitivity. Though
That's true.
I guess we could say that we were more accustomed to 2016s and Eternals is a little different.
Mhm.
And another thing good about Eternal is, well, I do say the map design was better. The only time I thought it was really noticeable was when we were in the aliens, like home
Oh,
base
heaven.
with like the red trees and stuff, and like the like
Are you
the
talking about their version of
leaves.
like what heaven would probably be like for them?
Yeah, that kind of like the alien stuff.
Yeah.
With like the fanboy, right? There's the Con McCar, or however you say the name. She voiced certain characters we noticed that were like.
Oh yeah, that's her. Yeah. Yeah, but taking it back to like the platforming thing, like yeah, the platforming there is a bit of a learning curve to it. That's because they amped up the platforming as opposed to Doom 2016, and like we got past it. I mean, like we kind of broke the game out while we were doing it, but we still got past it.
Well, yeah, definitely we didn't use I guess the most intended. We didn't use what was the most intended way, and there was definitely certain problems with clipping And
Mhm.
like it's not even the kind of thing where we were trying to clip or do certain things, like how like the glitch hunters use certain things with like the jumping like
Oh yeah.
mechanics. This was just us trying to go through the game as normal as possible, and then certain times we just go into the like Doom 2016 has better when you're doing it as a casual. There's not as
Mhm.
many glitches to be found, and it just kind of
Oh,
runs
that
properly. Where with Eternal,
mhm.
there's some polish that wasn't there. Where you go, what's
That
going
could be more
on?
of a testament to how we played Doom Eternal at launch, and Doom 2016 had like time to get patches and everything too. So I mean, we could do like go back and play, see what changed or anything like that.
Yeah, like once the one of the final patches happen. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
then the other thing with Eternal is there is definitely a problem with how much platforming there is, where people
Oh yeah,
there is a real
because
criticism of like for how much it is about shooting, the platforming can like kind
yeah,
of break away from
it
the
seems kind of tedious
pacing.
at sometimes. Yeah,
And there is that kind of skill, like there is a skill to the platforming, but when it's not really like it's not really part of the arena when you shoot things, it's very
mm-hmm.
segmented.
Kind of like throws off the pacing a bit too. Like, oh, we just got out of this huge fight, time to like cool down a bit. But nope, you gotta do some platforming in order to do that.
And it reminds me
Oh,
of
you want to
like
cut?
yeah.
Oh, you want to do a cutscene? Go to platform. Like, no, it kind of ruins the pacing a bit. Some in some parts of the story.
Yeah, and it reminds me of like the criticisms that people have with certain like tanky characters being like too uh, agile, and
Mm-hmm.
like the one example I remember when someone was talking about Batman, like how the Arkham units are good, but it is kind of weird to see such a hulking Titan with all this armor, kind of like doing crazy flips and stuff. And I get that Batman's supposed to be agile, but it is kind of true when he's supposed to feel like a tank. He's doing all this crazy
Oh, yeah.
stuff, and especially with Doom Guy, where like he really, especially with the older games not even having platforming, like he's supposed to be this like rounded Titan that's supposed to like, and all he's doing,
Yeah.
he looks like Super Mario, like he's doing the Bing Bing Wahoos with all this, and the same problem with the story, right? Like
Yeah.
especially with a game where like John Carmack himself was like, video game stories are like porn. You don't really care
Mm-hmm.
about them. It's just an extra thing. The amount of story they try to push on you, where you had to have a skip button for it,
Oh, yeah.
it's just too much. I feel.
Oh, not even that. They had the skip button and they had most of the story like in parchments you had to read on the side.
Yeah, that too. Where it's like, what am I playing? Destiny, which is already a problem.
Yeah.
I gotta read like trading cards or something, or like dossiers. And then like
Yeah.
it's same thing with like I do not like the whole rip and tear scene with Doom Guy, where like he feels like a baby. He feels like a raging baby, where he doesn't feel like a like a get shit done kind of guy. Like originally, Doom Guy felt like in Dragon Ball, right? Like Trunks, where he's like he
Yeah.
saw something that he needed to get done, he would just blow the guy up. Like how Trunks like stabs Frieza, he just gets that guy done, no talking.
Uh,
Where now it just feels
yeah.
like he's some blithering moron that can't even control himself or whatever. So it's kind of like it's weird that he has like this laser focus like arsenal where he's like, ooh, he snipes the guy and stuff. Where back then it made sense because he was supposed to be like this like crazy badass and
Yeah. It's more to so like how in the original Doom guy is more of a space marine, but this one he just more like he acts like a bumbling soldier. That's what it is. Yeah, because it makes sense for him to be able to rip and tear because like that's basically what Marines do in a sense like how people usually portray Marines. They're just oh yeah we rip and tear this shit up. We're the people that get shit done and everything. But in these new games he's just like yeah I don't know what I'm doing but I'm still gonna do shit.
yeah, like I guess the example would be how in the older canon, which they took from in 2016, is that he was supposed to be a guy who was intelligent enough, and it's when he saw something unjust, no
Yeah.
justice, where he would then go into this like rage that he would say, "This is like wrong." Where he had that like he understood things, like he was a descendant of the Wolfenstein guy. Later on, Commander Keen was, or before Commander Keen was supposed to be the next one. Like he's not supposed to be crazy, and like it's like when a surgeon did something wrong, that's when he would beat the guy up, right? He's like, you wronged the people, you didn't have that justice. And that's the whole thing with the demons. He's only supposed to go like, oh, I hate demons, I'm gonna shoot them like a silent badass. And then like he like with a guy like Vega, where that guy has demonic technology, he still thinks like, oh, this guy proved to me that he has like a
He's not.
just enough conscience to be
Yeah.
correct.
Of course.
Where in this
Or even
one, he's
so-
just like, oh, I'm gonna, ooh, I need to, and he's like the voice too is just so.
Wait, I don't think he actually has a voice.
Yeah, he goes rip
Oh,
and
no, he did,
tear.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very weird. Never mind, I forgot that he actually had a cutscene of him
So I do like the
going through some type of training and
yeah.
everything.
So I do like the interpretation in 2016 more how he kind of has that more traditional aspect to him that I can appreciate.
Yeah, I can see that. What is it called? I was about to say something like, oh yeah, back to the justice thing. Like, yeah, back then he was all about, yeah, oh, you wronged these people, oh, you're gonna die. Or even so, even a more comedic side to his justice thing. Oh yeah, you killed my bunny, you're gonna die. That's it.
Yeah,
That's what I wanted to say.
There's that. Yeah, there's that level where it's like, even if you wrong an animal, right, I'll still go and like fuck you up, in a sense. And then with this one, I mean, the guns are pretty good, and the mods are still good, but I mean, there's not too many new guns.
Yeah, I think the only new one would be, what was it? That was the one like kind of a hybrid demon laser type thing. I want to say.
Yeah, and the fact that some of the modifications aren't permanent, like the two mods are cool and all, but the fact that some of them aren't permanent kind of makes it so that there's a problem where, like, because the shotgun has that like technology where you have a meat hook, it's like, why couldn't every gun have a mobility option then that makes it useful?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because then that's
I
just the
can
gun
see-
people use.
Yeah, I can see what the developers were going for with the whole meat hook and the shotgun thing. But I mean, like, if you're gonna do that, might as well add it to the rest of the guns too.
Yeah, or give it something that's like very specific that makes people
Yeah.
like go align
Like,
with it. Where
have like a very specific reason as to why this only works with the shotgun or the specific type of gun.
yeah, since certain weapons
Yeah.
like they kind of become less useful the longer you go, or modifications where if the modifications had certain like secondary features, they could have given people more aspects to be useful.
Yeah.
Like, it's like how we picked that one wrong modification type where we should have picked sniper and the other one was worse over time.
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
Right? It's like there should have been something with that that made it worth it to have, because then that older modification is just not worth it in a way. And it's like, why do you even have it?
I'd probably say like the whole modification system is more to be well attuned to the player specific type of playthrough. That's why. So
what I'm saying is that like sometimes it gets like, what is it? The older modifications will be obsolete later on, and it's like, oh, you should have just picked the second one. It's like, well, you didn't tell me there was going to be enemy types that would need this certain modification would be better with it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like this, like the shield later on becomes less useful on the chain gun, and then like because you want more damage output, and then like the AK, the triple hit becomes less useful because you want the sniper to kill the heads off of the alien things, but they don't like. There's no hint to tell you that, so then it's like, oh well, I just wasted like that modification. I should have used it on the other one.
Yeah.
And
Also,
like,
speaking of hints, though, like every time you die, it's usually always like the same hint over and over again. Like, well, come on, we're facing a new enemy type. This isn't gonna work for this type.
that too, yeah. There's definitely a thing with that also, and there is some level of how you can't really use every guns, and in certain guns it's like are like, oh well, you had to do this thing for this gun, and so you just can't use, like the big one is like it gets. I get what they're trying to do, but it gets really tiring always having to use a sticky bomb on the like Mancubus or whatever it's called. It's like, okay, I get it. Like it's a fun mechanic, but then you can't use anything else. Where in 2016, any gun works on any opponent.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Well, the big one is like the BFG is supposed to be this ultimate gun, but like if you don't use it right, then like the freaking what's it called again? Matador or
the Marauder.
Marauder, right? Like the Marauder just like blocks it, and it's like, I get it. The Marauder is supposed to be useful, and there's certain ways you can kill them, but like the BFG or the other one, the Maker, should just be
the Unmaker. Yeah.
Those two guns should just be the ones where it's you just kill the guy
like,
immediately.
No matter what, like yeah, or even the sword, that type of thing. Like yeah, it's made of the same energy as the Marauder shield, so it should be able to cut through the shield and the Marauder. But no, like you have these guns that are fine, but then you have these other guns that are supposed to be overpowered and have a set limit of ammo that don't work against certain enemy types. Like It's kind of weird.
Mainly the Marauder. And it's like I'm fine with the Marauder like being
Mm-hmm.
difficult in every other way, but like the BFG should be able to like the BFG and the
Just kill
sword
it.
should be the two where it's like you're using your resources. It should just work if you want to.
Yeah.
Because then like the other stuff with BFG or the sword, especially on easier difficulties, is like that you don't need them. And they're not useful.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
then, like, the one time you need to use your resources, you can't because, like, clearly if you're able to shoot them with the BFG, you could just kill them any other way because you're good enough at doing that already. That is, like,
Mhm.
then you don't want to use it on the Marauder because it's like, well, you can already kill them easy enough.
Exactly.
So that, and there's a certain thing with the Marauder where they don't explain how to face them properly. Like, the design is not really clearly
Yeah.
shown for people, and so like it is well designed, but the way they don't tell you how to do it or explain
Yeah,
it well
they're hit-
enough based off
yeah, yeah,
visuals. It's,
Their hitbox is small and it goes away real fast. Like there's literally one misstep and you literally have to face him like another half hour.
yeah, that's fine. The problem with it for me, it's like an example is like, oh, if you shoot the shield, the dog comes out. Like that should be a hint. That should be saying, oh, here's how to glory kill. That shouldn't be a hint. The hint should be, how do I kill this enemy? Here's how you kill it. If don't shoot him with the shield, the dog comes out. You had to angle the BFG if you want to kill him properly, and like certain things
I don't
like
even think, wait, hold on. I don't even think the dog came out if you shot the shield.
that's
I
actually
think it was just
that's how it works.
wait. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, right? Like, how are you supposed to
Yeah.
know that if like they don't explain to you during the hints, right? Because I can understand where it's like we don't want to make it too obvious for more experienced players. Okay, but if you wanted to get the hint, that should be something. You shouldn't be having to ask yourself, how do I beat this enemy in this like action, like fast paced action game?
Yeah.
Because it is well designed, but that's the kind of thing where like sometimes you have to realize not every player is gonna be the best of the
Right.
best that will understand how
Exactly.
to not
I'm sure
be
you
frustrated.
can lower the difficulty every now and then, but I mean like that just really doesn't really make up to like poor hint giving or poor like design.
Well, the biggest problem is if you lower the difficulty, then everything else becomes way too easy. So then it's like,
Yeah.
oh well, now I'm not
That's
having
the
fun
point.
because it's too easy now.
Yeah.
Which is like
That's
like
yeah.
now if I played Doom Eternal, right? I'd
Yeah.
like the Marauder and I would like everything else. But like a first time playing a game is important to make it so that people understand that like what is
Oh yeah,
it?
this is how you beat the guy. This don't do this or this happens like that. Like even like a little throwaway hint here and there would be fine.
Oh hell, this is a
But
good
no,
this is a good way. If you're gonna have cutscenes, have a skippable cutscene where it shows maybe like one cutscene of like Doom guy damaging like certain harder enemies, and then you go, oh okay, now I could kind of understand the game plan because the cutscene showed like this is how it works, right?
Yeah.
And like
Rather than
that's the thing.
focusing on a story that no one really cares about, focus on how to defeat a new enemy type.
And
That's what it should
and
be.
that's the thing. Like in 2016, right? 2016, since you could just kill any enemy with any gun, you've progressively learned which gun is better on which enemy due to the fact that certain guns will damage certain enemies higher, or certain enemies will have higher resistance to things.
Uh-huh.
Or the best example of an enemy that may take a while to figure out is like a Pinky, right? When you first shoot
Oh,
him,
yeah.
is like, how do I do it? Then you just, by chance, you'll shoot them on the back, and you clearly see that one shotgun did more damage, so you say, oh, okay, now I get it.
Mhm.
Yeah, or the whole thing with like weapon switching on like keyboard, where if you do like I forget what it's called, where you like switch between a weapon to like not wait for the recoil or like reload.
Uh-huh.
Like that's the kind of thing where in like later difficulties, like it's fine for later difficulties for that to make sense, because that's for later difficulties. You got to figure the way that out yourself. But yeah, it's definitely worse when it's the earlier difficulties when you had to do stuff like that. Or if it's not like you don't have enough time to understand when they have their moment of weakness, and that could be shown in like other shooters where there'll be more telltale signs, or in more action games like say a DMC, where you'll be able to tell the recovery frames because you'll be able to dodge them quicker, and there's not other enemies taking up your time.
Of course, yeah. Although I will admit the whole glory kill system was actually pretty nice. Like it's more polished off and everything. Like the whole detail with the glory kills and everything.
Yeah, but there is
That's-
truth to what you said, where well, in the stream that's not there anymore. In how you said that since there's only so many animations, it does get kind of tiring to see the same ones every
Yeah.
time. And they should have had more if they were gonna. If you had to have so many glory kills, if you had to have so many glory kills where you had to kill them that way, they should have had more animation so it wouldn't be so tiring. Or they should have made them. Or the biggest one, they should have made them really quick without having to use a modification. There should have been like a mode like that on the options menu. Or the other one is also being the gosh, we talked a lot about Eternal, but oh yeah, the fact that it's like, I want to play a shooter and then it had to use so much melee could also be considered like the fact that you get so close up for chainsaws and like what's it called, the glory kills is like, no, I want to play a shooter, let me shoot the things with my gun. Which is, I mean, you can use that with unlimited ammo, but you still have to make that an option. And even for health, right? Enemies don't drop health unless there's a glory kill. It kind of is one of those things where I wouldn't mind there being a mode where you have like limited ammo and you had to kill enemies regularly or find pickups to get ammo and health. And then you also don't have to use a chainsaw or like glory kills, and so it's more of a traditional Doom game. Yeah, and same thing with platforming, where I feel it feels more like Quake than Doom, which makes me hopeful for when they do a Quake game that it'll be like good. Yeah, like it's good. This is a good game. There are there are
good games. There are good. They have merit to them. Like they're not terrible games, but I mean like it's just like some major flaws that they have that a lot of people get annoyed about. That's the mainly what it is.
Or at least with shooters, for me, that kind of like that. I don't know why I said it like that, but that kind of like if you play like the newer indie games that are similar to Doom, like if you play like a Dusk or you play like a there's a few other ones, a Medieval, some other ones, but those are the main ones I'm talking about. It's like in that there's good ammo pickups, there's good health pickups. When you shoot something, you just need to shoot it, and it'll die no matter what gun it is, as long as it's like not the shitty first weapon you could get, like a pistol, and like you can traverse and do pacifist runs, right? Like that's the other thing in this game. Sometimes you have to kill enemies in enemy arenas, and so you can't like just skip past some fight encounters.
Oh, yeah, that's
which
true.
is fine, but like in the older Doom games, you could do a pacifist run, or like in these newer indies, which is like, I mean, it's fine. That's not bad game design to like do that, because that's just their intention. It's just if you prefer the older Doom style, being able to like skip some certain encounters or juke and jive. Sometimes you're stuck in like an arena setting.
Oh yeah, that's true.
For both of them, and like that's the other problem with 2016 too, is that like the music in 2020 is a little better. I'll give that much with Mick Gordon, and the fact that he was able to make a bit more of a metal-like soundtrack. But I'm definitely okay with it, like the new guy. Well, mainly one of the reasons being how he didn't do like the OST, but like the vinyl. But I would be fine with the new guy doing it, since I do want a more metal, guttural like soundtrack for a sequel if they do it. Like since the older ones were like really like Iron Maiden kind of stuff and cool stuff with that.
Of course, comes to music, like this holds up. I mean, nothing compared to the original soundtrack for Doom.
Like the only ones I really remember is like Meat Hook, that thing when you go to that heaven area, and like there's like two other ones. The problem is that like a lot of it can be considered like ambient in some ways, and I do like it. But it's not something where I can always go back to and go like, oh yeah, it's not like the old Doom
casually or anything like that.
Yeah, it's not like the old Doom games where like at least with the first one, maybe the second one is like, yeah, I can listen to this whenever. I would like to compare it to 64, but you still need to play that one yourself also.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then what else with 2016? Oh yeah, the boss fights. Both of the final boss fights in these games are just kind of like there.
They're kind of the same, except like in Eternal, like there's a whole bunch of like little enemies you can shoot to get more ammo and everything. But most of them are just the same, like bullet sponges and all that other stuff. It's
just another arena, but you have an enemy kind of like sometimes swatting at you. Like there's no real like design. My favorite boss still in these games is probably like the one with the shield.
Oh yeah, the one with the face shield. Or the shield with the face on it.
And then I guess the two like ball guys that you face before you get like that one gun in 2016. What are they called?
Which one are you talking
Like
about?
like you face one guy, then you face two guys in Doom 2016.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. I think that's a key, not the shield.
Yeah.
Oh, not a gun. It's just a key.
No, in the first game.
Yeah, no, that's right. It's a key that you get.
N-
No, it's not a weapon.
Don't you get a gun after that? I don't remember from 2016 too much, but yeah, those guys where it's like you face like one guy, then two guys, and like that's really good because you gotta jump, and then you gotta juke and jive, and like they give you enough time to actually attack the enemies before you have to before they recover again, and so that's what makes it fun, for that reason. For those two, it's not just an arena. You actually have to like deal with the enemy themselves. They actually have an AI that like
Actually works for most of the part.
Yeah, but I'll give some respect to 2016's final boss because it's more of a last victory of saying, yeah, you're a true badass. Here you go. You killed him.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's sweet. And let's see. We talked about music. We talked about atmosphere. We talked about certain gameplay. Well, yeah, I guess one problem with 2016 is that there's not enough variety. That's the thing. Where it is just that one thing. So I see why they did that in 2020 in Eternal, but like they kind of went too far into the other direction where they put too much, like things like that, and they put too much colors in certain ways. Like the way the ammo is always colored can be kind of.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like it's all neon. It's like I mean that's a nitpick though, but I can see why people like the older way where it's like yellow only because it fits better with the theme of like the game. Like the HUD is very like colorful. It's such a like gory, realistic game in a way.
Oh yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Like there is a change. It's not just Doom 2016 2. It's like its own kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, the snake enemy was good. I like the snake enemy in Eternal. I like.
That's true. And a few the few throwback enemies, yeah, those were actually pretty good too.
Khan Makar could have been good too if it didn't just be only. If it was the fact that it's only the meat hook is kind of the annoying part. If that was part of the level, that would be fun. But like because that's it kind of makes the boss fight kind of like, oh okay, it's just one phase, but really long. With the god girl, what's her name again? Khan Makar.
I do not know.
Yeah, but like how it's only one phase. It's just get the meat, use rocket launcher, use the meat hook, punch her, and that's it. Where they did more stuff with it, it could have been more fun.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, the boost panels that was the good part. Like how we in that one thing where you could skip like intentionally, you can intentionally skip without it being glitchy inbounds. Like all the platforming and just boom, you go past it, you shoot the thing, and you use your dash.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, that's the only thing. That's a big problem. I feel it's like the whole like tombstones where you had to grab on and then like grab off. It's too slow.
Yeah. Plus the whole time limit type thing, it kind of makes you mess up even more. So.
Yeah. The time limit's fine if it was quicker.
Yeah.
It's my thing, and then so is the climbing too is a bit like. Off.
Weird, like the whole animation-wise climbing thing.
Or the what's it called? The bars can be kind of finicky when we played it first time, where like you think you got it, but then it just kind of like it's either you're too high or too low, and then other times with the dash, it's kind of weird how you recover it. Those are just nitpicks, and would probably be better the second time. But there is that part where for more casual players, it kind of is a bit strict for a game that's supposed to be so free flowing, and I mean it's good though. Like it got the credit it deserved. It's a good game, but yeah, there are problems with it that we could say. But which one do you prefer, 2016 or 2020?
Honestly, they're kind of both more or less the same to me. Like in terms of what I want to play casually, I'll probably do 2016. But if I want to do like more variety or more like kind of a challenge, maybe I'll do Eternal.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about you?
I don't know. I mean, I like both. I like both of them. It's really like they wouldn't be my first person shooters to play.
Oh yeah.
So like I guess both are good. It's just like sorry to say, I guess I prefer Eternal in some ways. But 2016 is still a fun ride. Oop.
Yeah. I guess you're right. Alright, well, I think that's gonna do it for this video. If you guys have anything to say, you know what to do. Everything else, already you know what to do. Catch you guys in the next one. See ya.
So yeah.